Hi friends, welcome back. It's DJ Montague, and today we are talking about more Paladin stuff. With the recent announcement of Ranked and a lot of different tournaments on the horizon, I wanted to give you guys something to look forward to and to help understand and digest playing and being a good Paladin for your team. So today we're here to talk about a build that has been popularized on Royal Roaders in Korea, and also this build was played by a few different players on the Russian client along with myself. I personally didn't play this build until tournament play, but I have found the light, Paladin puns, and found why this build is so successful and why you should be learning it along with the other builds that you're playing with Paladin for PvP. First and foremost, let's get into the stats. So stats are 1 crit, 750 swiftness, 249 endurance. Now, you as a Paladin, for the most part, are throwing out a lot of shields. You are supporting your team quite often with knockups, peels, and Godsent Law and Holy Protection. So you want to boost the shield amounts as much as you possibly can with endurance here. Now, can you go into domination? Sure, you can. Domination is a great stat in PvP if you're looking to do more damage, but you also have so many shields with this build, you might as well go to endurance and just be the tank that you want to be. With this build, you're going to want to think of yourself more as a knockup bot and more of a team fighter that helps get your team out of sticky situations rather than being this damage paladin, rep paladin style of play. There will be a build in the future where I will put out a more DPS oriented paladin build, and this paladin build can still rip damage. Don't worry too much on that end. But I'm just saying, as a team player and climbing for ranked and looking for tournament play, this build is very, very key to being successful. I'm going to put a secondary stat screen on the screen here just to show you what I personally play. Now, do I recommend this for everybody? No, but I personally am an aggressive player. Do I take this in tournament? I have taken this in the tournaments recently in the United States East servers, and I have found some success for it, and also have transitioned into the full endurance build as well. And it's kind of a toss-up. I'm giving you a couple options here, but I highly recommend going more endurance than anything. So keep in mind that endurance is very, very strong for this particular build. Let's get into the skills. First skill that I have on my bar is Godsent Law, and Godsent Law is one of those skills that is just absolutely ridiculous, and one of the reasons that I think that supports are getting nerfed is because of skills like this. Now, we'll talk about what I think about supports after Royal Roaders is finished, which it is currently going on. They're in top 8 this week. But I think that Godsent Law, Rhapsody of Light, and Nalesia's Energy are some of the most invaluable skills in this game as a support. Now, those are respectively from Paladin, Bard, and Gunlancer. And I think they're just insane in terms of their utility, in terms of their damage reduction. You can absolutely shut down an entire awakening. And if your team is in a bad position, you can nullify so much damage with this skill alone that it almost negates 3, 4, 5 skills from the opponent's team, which is an insane swing of cooldown trading. I can't stress how important I think Godsent Law is to the Paladin playstyle. It has a longer range than Rhapsody of Light. Even though it doesn't have tier 2 immunity, only has tier 1. This skill is incredibly important for reducing damage for your team. Highly recommend, almost a must take, in my opinion, as a Paladin player. The next skill on my bar, I use Holy Sword. Now, this is your end-all be-all like combo finisher. You don't really want to use this in the middle of a combo because, as I've kind of stated in previous videos, if you do enough damage in a single hit, you can set someone into a scaled state, a grounded state. Now, what this means is they will be knocked onto the ground and unable to be comboed further with like knockups and or CC. So this is why this skill is such a hard-hitting skill and a combo ender. Now, there are 2 tripod choices that I suggest here, and the first being propulsion and vital hit as a combo. Now this first tier propulsion, second tier vital hit. Always take condensed energy in the third tripod. That's pretty much a no-brainer here for PvP. More damage, always better for your combo ender. And the reason for this is setting up your combos easier. Now, going straight from a charge hit into a propulsion vital hit Holy Sword will set somebody in a grounded state more often than not because of the crit component. Hitting somebody with a 20,000 damage ender will let you get into the fight and helping your team more often. Lining this up to hit more than one opponent is very difficult, but if you start learning where your combos place you, this is one of your best skills, in my opinion, in PvP. But it's very, very difficult to hit correctly. And while you are learning about Paladin, or you have a lot of ping and you're having issues hitting your combos correctly, the other option is positioning for the increased attack speed and outburst of light. That other option of tripods for Holy Sword releases some of the stress of knowing how to perfectly time your combos and lets you think about the idea of where you need to be more often rather than, am I going to hit this combo? It kind of relieves some stress from you of hitting your combos perfectly. Now, this is going to end up being a massive damage reduction in terms of you're doing 20% less damage to guarantee the explosion component of Holy Sword, and also missing out on the crit component of Vital Point hit. So in general, you will be doing less damage, but if you're able to hit your combos, that's the most important thing of Holy Sword in the first place, is getting the second portion of the damage. So it is a very viable option. And in Royal Roaders, there was a Paladin that was running this particular tripod setup. I recommend this particularly for new players and seasoned players that are having issues getting focused in a high tier setting. Paladins aren't exactly like the defense bots that we come to think of them as. We have a lot of shields, but we don't have a lot of ranged attacks. And when you just need to get in and out, using positioning and outburst of light will be able to give you that freedom to just get quickly out of a combo without risking your positioning with propulsion and vital point hit. The next skill we take on our bar here is Charge, and excellent mobility, shining protection, ambush attack. It's pretty self-explanatory. You always want that knockup because tier 2 CC in this game is the most prevalent portion of CC, and having a on-demand fast and mobility-based knockup on our bar is hyper important. So this is pretty much like the must-take for this build. Next on our bar, Heavenly Blessings. With the mana changes that have happened in the Korean client, we've kind of transitioned out of Mind Enhancement in Heavenly Blessings into Agile Cast. Now, if you are having trouble with your mana, if you feel like you're snowballing the game very well and you have a lot of control over the game, moving into Mind Enhancement is the better option because a 50% reduction on one of our most expensive skills is pretty incredible and will keep that snowball effect going for you. But in general, Agile Cast is probably the better of the choices. Second tripod, this is kind of up to you. Now, I have taken Perseverance for most every tournament I've played in so far because of how much damage reduction it gives and how strong damage reduction is in the current meta. Another reason why I say that most likely supports will be nerfed, including Gunlance, is that Perseverance and skills like it are so incredibly overwhelming in the current meta. And with how much time is on the clock in a PvP match being 4 minutes, Perseverance uptime and damage reduction uptime in this game is very strong. There's really not going to be a situation where you're taking Absolute Blessings. I just want to let you guys know the mana increase is negligible. That's a PvE skill for sure. But if you have another option in tripod number 2, realistically, you can take either Weightlessness or Valor, depending on what your team composition is. If you are with a Blade player, I highly recommend Perseverance, but if you're playing with something like a Gunlance, regularly, which is not tournament legal, just wanted to specify if your friend is a Gunlance player. Weightlessness or Valor are better options there because you will have so much damage reduction anyway. So, and moving on, our next skill, Execution of Justice. Now, I think this is one of the best skills Paladin has, if not the best skill on our self-defense bar. Now, there are two options for Execution of Justice here, and my personal take is forward attack on pretty much all of my builds, just because I am very anti-sorceress, and this is a very good way of shutting down a sorceress. The whole reasoning for this is because of how good charge is in conjunction with Execution of Justice. Getting a tier 2 knockup through a mobility skill into a defensive skill that puts you in an aggressive position, in my opinion, is one of the strongest parts of our kit. Now, I take forward attack, strength release is a must take, I think, in PvP, and light explosion for the tier 2 immunity. One key thing I wanted to talk about with this is light explosion is must take because of the tier 2 immunity. I've seen a few paladins out there running Express Fury. It doesn't have as much defense, like you're only tier 1 immune, and the damage that you get in Express Fury is not worth missing out on the knockup component of light explosion, and 2, the tier 2 immunity. It's our only tier 2 immunity in the kit normally. And the other option in tier 1 tripod is Bulwark. Now, Bulwark, if you are going this defensive stance in this build with the more endurance based build, Bulwark might be your choice. Now, I've seen a lot of paladins on the EU side of things and also in Royal Roaders in Korea use Bulwark. My personal opinion is I don't like it, but that's because I've been accustomed to Execution of Justice. I have tried Bulwark. That is the tournament that I got first place in, was using Bulwark. The tournaments that I've gotten second place in is forward attack based. Now, do I think that my placings are based on this single tripod? No, but I wanted to specify that there are drawbacks to taking forward attack. You are less tanky. Next up in the build is Wrath of God. Now, Wrath of God is pretty much set in stone on what you want to take here, which is Wide Thunderstroke, Thunder, and Light's Guardian for the knockback component, basically giving you a tier 3 and a tier 2 CC in the same skill, which is pretty important. But I do want to state that I still think that Tenacity in tier 2 is a decent option. Now, would I take it every game? Absolutely not, because this is our only form of tier 3 CC in the entire kit. But I still wanted to specify that I don't think that Tenacity in tier 2 is a bad take. And if that is your choice, if you're looking for more tier 2 immunity, this is where you're going to get it. Now, this is going to be used in a very different way than most paladins are using, because the reason we take this stun is because of combo ability and because of pressure release. But Tenacity can be worked into your build as pressure release only. Now, you won't have your combo ability, you won't have your tier 3 stun, so you kind of really need to weigh your options. Your combos completely change here. So I just wanted to let you guys know that this could be a potential option. Next in the build, Executor's Sword is one of those skills that is so fast that in the current melee-based meta of a lot of martial artists being very strong, being that War Dancer and Striker, excellent mobility tripod helps you take out people that are in Tornado, that are getting that dash in on your teammates, giving you that little bit of extra mobility when we don't have a whole lot in this particular build in the first place. I think Executor's Sword is incredibly strong in the current meta because of the classes that you're going to see in ranked PvP and in tournament play. The thing that most characters in this game are susceptible to is tier 2 CC. So having a secondary fast and less mobile CC is helpful if charge is on cooldown. Also, the skill combos with your whole entire kit, so giving yourself an extra knockup really just helps tons and tons and tons. And the last skill on the bar is Holy Protection, and I can't say enough about this skill. Holy Protection is absolutely insane, and with the time changes, usually people are taking Vow of Light for the extra healing that you get on 3 characters. Now this can, on a 50-second cooldown, heal for 15,000 over the course of a team, or across a team, up to 18,000 if you're taking Endurance. And this is pretty self-explanatory. You really want to take Swift Fingers for making sure that you get your shield off if you're being pressured, or if you feel like you're going to get some pressure. Quick Pace doesn't help because it's only while the shield is active, and usually you're using a shield when some opponent has caught your teammate. So the Quick Pace doesn't help any way, shape, or form really there. Robust Protection is almost a must-take. I think it is must-take because Lingering Power really doesn't do anything. It's like a 2-second increase for the shield duration, whereas giving yourself 100% more shield and timing your shields well is the most important part of having the shield. So now another thing, I think in ranked queue, I think Thunderous Protection is worth the take as well. And I have also seen Paladins in tournament play also take Thunderous Protection. Now, this has been North American tournaments. I don't think that anyone in Royal Roaders has taken Thunderous Protection. I think Vow of Light is almost the must take, but also the KR meta has evolved to be a lot more defensive. There are a lot more supports and a lot more damage reductions. Also in ranked queue, the support players are very much support players. They don't double dip. They don't try and get into the I'm going to do DPS but also have a shield on my bar. They very much will have the heal on their bar specifically to help their team. When it comes to Alithane's Judgement, this is the best option for 3v3. It's just a no-brainer. Alithane's Light is just so weak when it comes to 3v3 anyway. I wouldn't even recommend thinking about it. Alithane's Judgement is the take. Don't worry about it. Now, what I will also want to say, this is not just for you, this is for me, to remind me as well, because I have the issue of that I want to make huge impactful plays. Using your Awakening early is the choice. It should always be the choice to continue to force pressure, to save your teammates from pressure, and to give them that morale boost of having that 40% HP shield to move forward, to be a little more aggressive, to steamroll that team fight should be your choice. Now, how are you going to hit this? Because the skill is a little bit harder to hit when it comes to PvP. You want to wait for somebody to roll. You want to wait for somebody to waste that first roll, tech chase, and what I mean by tech chase is advance after them, get them in a second knockdown situation, be that the first hit of Executor's Sword, or potentially the Execution of Justice knock up, or something like that, and go straight into your Awakening afterward. You want to make sure, obviously, that the roll is taken, like I said, but that's the way you combo into this Awakening and continue pressure with your team. The radius on which people get shield for this particular skill is so insane, and it used to not be that way, but I just wanted to specify, like, use your Awakening early in the match rather than waiting for it later. The last 30 seconds of the match is not for you to save your Awakening for on a support like this. It is very much a comeback mechanic for teams that are behind, and you want to force pressure and maintain your advantage as a Paladin. Thank you guys so much for checking out this video. Again, I'm DJ Montague. I stream on Twitch every day, basically. Come by, check me out, twitch.tv/DJ Montague. It'll be right here or like somewhere around here in the ether. Come check us out. I've been playing in tournaments recently. We'll be playing in the Lost Ark League as hosted by the Archives. I played in the Moonlit Battlegrounds. Shout out to Moonlit Battlegrounds. I played in Proving Grounds from Boom TV. Also played in the Onion Gang tournament, and we took first place in Moonlit, second place in both the other tournaments. So I feel like with your help and cheering us on some more, we could get some more first place victories. Thank you guys so much. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. I really appreciate you checking this video out. I will see you in the next one. Peace.